I'm Judy Shaw for NYSE Floor Talk. Joining me today is Gordon Bennett. He is the Managing Director, Utility Markets at ICE. Gordon, great to have you on the show. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks very much. It's a great pleasure to be on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange.
Now, a quick note to our viewers before we get started. This interview is for informational purposes only. The NYSE doesn't recommend any investments or investment strategies. All right, so Gordon, tell me, what role does ICE play in the sustainable finance and the road to net zero?
Yeah, it's a great question, and sustainable finance is such a broad part of the universe, and ICE is doing lots of stuff. So in the data services business, we've got ESG reference data, we've got global carbon indices, we've got physical climate risk tools, but the piece of the market that I look after is environmental markets, and we're very much focused on providing price signals for negative and positive externalities. So net zero is really about balancing the world's carbon budget, and these price signals are effectively helping us to incentivize less CO2 into the atmosphere and incentivize more CO2 out of the atmosphere. So that's what our environmental markets that's what they're doing on a day-to-day basis.
All right, so now ICE recently launched a nature-based solutions carbon credit futures contract. How does that work?
Yeah, so that's very much focusing in on the positive externality of storing carbon dioxide. So nature is this wonderful piece of technology, and it's sucking CO2 out of the atmosphere, so it's playing a very important role in terms of balancing that carbon budget. And so our nature-based carbon credit future is putting a price signal on that capability.
Okay, now we know that ICE is a leading environmental marketplace. Do you see companies wanting to learn more about these markets as companies make net zero commitments?
Yeah, absolutely. It's, rewind a few years ago, it was only really companies that had compliance commitments. So companies that were governed under what we call cap and trade models are set by governments, so you had to comply with your mandate. But because of things like net zero commitments and voluntary commitments, it's basically touching the entire universe of companies. So, we talk to a whole host of new companies every day, and it's been quite a journey in the last 2 months in terms of the level of interaction that we've had with different sorts of companies.
All right, and finally, Gordon, what do you think are the challenges to meeting the COP26 climate goal to keep global warming below 1.5 degrees?
Yeah, well, that is a very difficult question to answer, but it's the sheer complexity of net zero. It's an energy transition. It's a massive investment in infrastructure. It's called a transition. You can't do a hard cut. So these are, decade-long projects that need to be put into place for allow us to transition. And also going back to the natural capital angle, we've effectively got to create an asset class for nature, which we've never had before. So the sheer complexity is the challenge.
All right, Gordon, great to have you here on the floor all the way from the UK.
Thank you very much.
Thanks
Appreciate
for joining me.